The difficulty is very, very complicated. The moves are too sharp and the enemies are too bouncy. I do have power as such, but I don't really know where the power is. My ship does crash very easily. Speed for the game is extreme, and I don't think having a superhero makes the speed any different. We get controls for shooting and capture, but the capture is funky and the shooting's poor. When I'm less than careful, my ship can just dive straight into a trap, and there's little maneuver to be done. Moves for the game are too sharp, and what happens is I don't have enough video to get a nice study of the playing field. The instruction manual does have opinions of method, and my gameplay is hurt, according to vague lines of data. Animals can be too small to see, my friends. There's better entertainment from watching the TV show for the game, and honestly, the TV show should be first in line of quality. Captain Planet and the Planeteers is like an afterthought. We get lots of hints and suggestions from the game. However, putting them together requires some kind of external knowledge between TV show and professionalness gameplay. Sometimes, in the history of Videogames, the programmers are only people who can play their own games. A programmer creates a game. Yeah. So it's not really surprising if he could beat his own game. But that's nothing. Programmers need to make games for other people, not just for themselves. Every market has customers. Customers should not know the secret sauce. Although, who knows? Maybe there's some in here. So what can happen is customers can taste the secret sauce with ignorance and doubt so many times. Way too many times. And this can eventually land programmers into pest control by critics and reviewers. Many programmers are just pests. You can tell from looking at so many video games over the years. Captain Planet and the Planeteers speaks for environmentalism and protection of wildlife. Yeah, never mind that Captain Planet kind of looks like Peter Pan, right? Of course, the Nintendo Entertainment System by today's standards would not be considered environmentally friendly. How many broken machines do we have for the Nintendo Entertainment System? A lot, dude. This fact makes it hard for me to believe in this NES game. Keep in mind that recycling is not always, illegal. You can find details about this in the instruction manual. Truth is, video games can be like once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. Video games can exist in working order just once and then disappear from the planet. Now I'm wondering where Neverland is. So many old video games have been disappearing. Think about how many Pong machines did exist and how many Pong machines exist now. It's really quite a tragedy. From a historical perspective, this NES game did not solve the planet problem. Captain Planet and the Planeteers was just a fantastic exaggeration with deceptive features. Where do we go here from that?
Yeah. And now Peter Pan has lost so much meaning that now some people would think that Peter Pan is nothing more than a jar of peanut butter. And peanut butter is a phrase today or slang for lazy, unintellectual activity. As in, like, the guy has, like, too much peanut butter in his system. That kind of thing. Where do we go from here? Well, definitely, I mean, this is a game for the Nintendo Entertainment System that is not impossible to beat. But the problem is, if you have to try too hard to beat the game, like, if it feels like you're getting angry at the control a lot, that's not good. You know why? Because then that could stimulate excessive desires, excessive lust, excessive greed, excessive arrogance, excessive vulgarity, especially of the romantic and dramatic kinds. Um, you know, um, I was able to talk to nerdy girls very easily when I was 7 or 9 years old growing up, but now today it's like, depending on the girl that's older, talking to one today could be like risking my life near some weird, dramatic Mr. Clean fanatic, and this is. You know, a lot of things have changed. They have. They really have. And I don't know. I mean, like like I have my hat on my heart about this, and this is a hat I created myself, a white hat that I marked with crayons and marker from Crayola. I mean, like, where's a lot of childhood stuff going? Is it possible that in today's society, the young generation of people are getting less and less strength in their daily lives? Look at my room here. I mean, look at this. Like, look at the decorations I have here along this hat, and this costume I have here. This is art. I mean, this is something with physical effort. Um, what do you see most of the time on the internet? I mean, often you just see plagiarized photos, violated drawings and such, and there's a lot of sad cases of just poor missing nuggets somewhere. And definitely, um, I think at first the Captain Planet show did have some good intentions, but then after the episodes rolled by and critics put in their 2 cents against the reviewers, people eventually soon began to realize by the late 1990s that the show was just um, a false habit. You know, um, I mean, there's some truth to the show. There's some virtues to it, but there will still be the scratches, the scars, uh, the cuts, the wounds that damage the quality and definitely impact the beauty, maybe even ruin it. Um, it's hard to say. And hey, I mean, how's social media doing for you guys? I mean, I notice a lot of members on the internet, especially on DeviantArt and blogging websites. I notice there's so much loneliness in this world. You know, I do not experience so much of this loneliness, but there are other people who experience a lot more of it than I do, and um, I think our society has been hanging on a thread when it comes to a lot of this leftover nonsense of individualism, like especially the kinds of leftovers that were never important results of individualism in the first place. Definitely when individualism goes wrong, it becomes isolation. It does. It becomes a vacuum to feelings. It does. But then again, would you actually approach someone and tap him on the shoulder? Like how you may see a character do in a movie. I think what has happened in modern society is that, and it's a natural thing. I think it is natural. I think what has happened is that people nowadays go on the internet and do a lot of their socializing and commenting and conversations and stuff with people on the internet, like with webcams and YouTube comments and website reviews and such. And by the time they go out in public, they get too tired to respond to actual people in public because they already did all their effort at home, with the internet. Well, I would say it is still socialization or social behavior, but there's more distance. There's more infinity in some ways. Well, how can this infinity of connection to internet help us if there's also so much distance and barrier and division such? Well, this Captain Planet game for the Nintendo Entertainment System is an interesting historical lesson, and definitely for historians like myself, the moral of this is simple. The moral is, if you create a game, make sure that unknowing participants get to sense it and understand it well enough from the beginning to play it well. Take care. Happy holidays.